Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football. Welcome back to a busy news show. Reports coming out from Italy that Manchester United are preparing a bid for Amrabat, but those sources are slightly on the questionable. They are the sources that told us we were signing Kim Min-jae 99.99%. Well, we know that didn't happen. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that United are preparing their bid for Rasmus Højlund. They don't want PSG to hijack the deal. PSG are speaking to Rasmus Højlund's camp, but Højlund agreed terms of United, and he's made it clear to PSG he would rather go to Manchester United. So not too worried about that, because French League, Premier League, Man United, I think I'd rather go to Man United. Anyway, but we're here mostly to talk about the takeover, as in the thumbnail. There is so much news coming out on the takeover. Reports 2 days ago, Glazers don't want to sell. The Glazers don't want to sell. Reports a day ago, Qatar aren't confident. Sir Jim will wait. Qatar refused to wait. Reports coming out today, Qatar will wait. Reports coming out today, Qatar believe they've won the takeover. It's just a matter of when the Glazers will sell. They don't think they'll sell to Sir Jim. This, that. We've got about 100 pieces of information coming out on the Manchester United takeover. Qatar this, Qatar that. This, that. And it's like, okay, but you're telling, we've got 10 different journalists telling us 10 different stories. What is going on? Why has it been delayed? Why are Qatar saying they are still confident? Qatar have told their sources, we're confident they're not going to Jim. They're playing a game. We're not going to put in a higher bid. We will sit. We've made our stance clear. They want us to bid more. The Qataris are telling their sources, you know what? Either they don't want to sell or they'll sell to us. They don't think it's going to Sir Jim. But Sir Jim's sources reportedly thought they were out the takeover race. They now believe they're back in it. But I want to clear something up. I want to get into news. I want to cover the news. I'm going to tell you my honest opinion in a second. Højlund needs to get done ASAP. We're in dire need of a number 9. We will get into the Højlund news. We are going to get into all the other news as well. I think Højlund and Mount and Amrabat are good signings. I'm trying to be really positive. We're going to get right into the takeover news, and then we'll get into the transfer news. But surely the Glazers can't stay from a financial perspective, looking at the staggering debts and financial restrictions, but the games and the delays are frustrating. That's what I mean. Surely the Glazers can't stay. The feeling is the Glazers can't stay. That is the feeling. Qatar say, look, the Glazers can't stay, and we don't think they're going to Sir Jim, but we don't know what their intentions are. Do they want a minority investment? There is the worry, are they looking for a minority investment? This is what I've tweeted. This is what I've spoken about, and I believe it's the case. The Glazers are delaying the Man United takeover because they want more money. They are feeding stories claiming they may get higher takeover offers due to the changing UCL format, hoping they can get a higher bid hoping they get a higher bid from the Qataris. It's a game, and it's all about greed. That is my honest opinion, because 2 days ago, the Glazers is going, they're not sure about selling. They might delay the takeover, hold off the takeover to the winter because of the new UCL format and the way Eric Ten Hag's going. And they go transfer the window. They think the United could be worth way more, and they're not happy with the bids. The reason the Man United takeover is delayed is because they are greedy. That is absolute facts. I will tell you this for an absolute fact, 100% truth. We don't know what's going on with the takeover. We don't know the 100% truth. These journalists, doesn't matter how good or bad these journalists are, because of the non-disclosure agreement, no one knows what's going on in the inside. One journalist is saying, look, it's going to be the Qataris. The next journalist is saying they're not selling. The next journalist is saying it's going to be Sir Jim. None of these journalists really know what's going on in the inside because of the non-disclosure agreements that have been signed. But what we do know, and what we do know for a fact with the takeover, is the reason it's taking so long is the Glazers and greed. You don't have to be a genius to figure this out. But if there's one thing we do know that we don't need a journalist to tell us, it's that the Glazers are incredibly greedy. They will do anything they can to rinse every single penny out of Manchester United. And although there's contradicting reports where some sources are saying the Glazers will sell, despite the delays, the Glazers will sell. Qatar is still confident. Qatar think that the Glazers are going to sell to them, and then you get reports saying the Glazers won't sell. Those reports, they've just been spun out of nothing. Those reports are games by the Glazers, because those reports, do you know what they included? The Glazers are waiting for more offers because of the changing UCL format. They think they will get higher offers in. Tell me that is not a Glazer game. We do it with transfers. As soon as we're about to sign Onana, we're looking at the Feyenoord keeper. As soon as we're about to sign Mason Mount, we're looking at Moises Caicedo. As soon as we're about to sign Højlund, we're looking at Kolo Muani of Frankfurt. No, we're not. It's a game. We're in the takeover. I want a higher bid from Qatar. Oh, we might stay. Let's tell our journalists we might stay. That is the Glazers game. Oh, let's say, we think because the UCL format's changing, we believe another company's going to come in with a better bid. We believe we're going to get the minority investment bid. They are fed up because the Qataris don't play games. I am telling you this. The Qataris don't play games. Qataris have said, this is our last bid, take it, leave it, adios. That's what they've said. And the Glazers are thinking, now, surely the longer we wait, they're going to cave and give us a bigger bid. They're going to cave and give us a bigger bid. The Glazers don't like that the Qataris aren't engaging in the games. They just said, look, take it or leave it. This is our last bid. We're disassociating ourselves with this. We want to hear back from you. That's our last bid. That is final. The Glazers want more because even though the Qatari bid is a good bid, the Glazers want 6 billion. They know Qataris can pay 6 billion. They know Qatar have the money to pay 6 billion. So why are they offering just over 5 billion? Because they're offering in the same bracket as Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Why would the Qataris overpay? They have to overpay for everything. They're good businessmen. But the Glazers don't like this. The Glazers are going, we want more money out of Qatar. We're going to play games. We're going to delay the deal. We're going to pretend Sir Jim Ratcliffe's on the cusp of winning because that got them to put that higher bid in. We're now going to say stuff like we think we're going to get a minority stake in because of the Champions League format changing and we're going to get more money. The Glazers are sitting there and they want more money out of Qatar because at the end of the day, once they get the money from Qatar, they have to clear the debt. They have to do this. They have to do that. And they want more. They want more, but they won't get more. Had they looked after the stadium and the stadium not need $1 billion of investment, had they not put this club $1 billion in debt and run this club so poorly and let Ed Woodward operate operations for about 10 years, they probably would be getting $6 billion from the Qataris. But the Qataris are like, well, we've got to pay another $1 billion clearing your debt. We've got to pay another $2 billion renovating facilities. And we've got to invest in the squad. Why are we going to give you $6 billion when we're probably going to end up spending about another $3 billion on top of this $5 billion bid? If we give you $6 billion, if we cave, as Qataris, when we want to buy other property, they think we will cave. We've got to also remain our stance. And the Glazers sit here at the table in a divide. And this is what we do know is true, because a lot of what's come out, we get one story one day, another story the other day. There's a lot of not true stuff going about. But what we do know is true is the Glazers are greedy. The Glazers, it's a game, it's about greed. We can't deny that. That is the Glazers. It's all about money. And they will sit at the table and 4 siblings say, let's just give it to Qatar. The other 2 siblings prefer Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But the other 2 siblings are like, oh, but there's legal trouble if we go with the Sir Jim Ratcliffe route. This could be delayed. Oh, we might go for Qatar. Let's see. Qatar could pay a lot more money than they're giving us. There's not much between this Qatar and Sir Jim offer. We, as Joe and Avram Glazer, want Sir Jim. So if Joe and Avram decide to choose Qatar, Qatar have got to give us something that's going to be more than Sir Jim's. Stop it. Sell the club. Get on with it. Going through this transfer window, signing Hoyland, signing this, signing that. At the end of the day, it's a distraction, and it is just more games from the Glazers. And I am fed up with Glazer games. 5.5 billion is already excessive as well. And they are just greedy. They are. You don't need a journalist to tell you this, because I tell you what, the journalists don't know much from what's going on with the takeover. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Their mum, their dad, everybody in the world knows. The Glazers are greedy. Every single thing the Glazers do is about greed. And we're going to get into the news. We're going to get into what's come out from Sir Jim Ratcliffe's employees about the situation. We're going to get news. But I'm going to say this, and I can't find it. I want to get into this tweet here that I saw from United Active. And this is it. All parties have signed a non-disclosure agreement for Manchester United ownership process. The very nature of breaching the non-disclosure agreement can cause financial implications and penalties. No journalist can tell you the real details of the ownership, so we need to wait for the club. The updates from them are noise/waffle. And this is absolutely spot on. A lot of these updates coming in, I think, will be noise. I think will be waffle. Because what Manchester United do when they sign a player is they spread noise, they spread waffle, they spread fake information. Whenever we're about to sign a player, we're going to spread information that we're going to sign the Feyenoord keeper when we're literally putting in a bid for Onana. It's noise, it's waffle, it's a negotiation game. With the takeover, they love that the non-disclosure agreements are signed, because everything that comes out, everything that's leaked, at the end of the day, it's leaked for a reason, because it's games. Absolute games. And Old Trafford needs doing the debt needs clearing as well. Qatar should say give you a week to make your mind up and pull out. If they don't, it's simple. But the thing is, I don't think Qatar will pull out. Qatar have just said, this is our last bid, take it or leave it. Contact us if you choose our bid, adios. And that's all Qatar can do. Thank you very much, Phantom, for the message. Alice, I own 1,000 shares of Man United on the New York Stock Exchange. I'm not greedy, I only want a few dollars. Hope you are teasing me about Qatar. I mean, look, still, there is the belief that Qatar are in the lead. The stock exchange, that is all hinting that Qatar is in the lead. The Qataris are confident. But, we get reports coming out today that, oh, no, they won't sell. Or, oh, no, it'll be Sir Jim. The reports are confusing, but what people do know is the Qataris are confident for a reason. the good sources, the financial sources have said, look, the Glazers are playing games. No one knows what's going on. Qataris are incredibly fed up, but they feel like it's not going to go to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That's what they feel as well. It has been said that that Florentina's Amrabat has been handed some extra days of break amidst interest from Manchester United, according to many Italian outlets. Amrabat's getting a break. Seems that his interest in United maybe could be moving quickly. I actually want to speak about Amrabat in a second because a few people and a few decent sources have said, you know what, Amrabat to United is going to move quickly. Amrabat to United is heating up, and we will get into those stories in just a second. But I want to actually cover the takeover news and what was particularly said. So Ben Jacobs said the Manchester United sale process has not been paused. Even though it's true that both Sheikh Yassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe feel they're in limbo, there is frustration at the lack of communication, but neither group plan to pull out or have been told they're unsuccessful. So the takeover process has not been delayed. It's not been stopped. You know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Sir Dave Brailsford, who's a friend of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who's involved in his bid, said that obviously I've been involved in the bid and it's something I was very keen to do, but I can't discuss it in detail because of the NDAs when people were asked about it. And all the sources are saying we can't discuss anything because of the NDAs. But it's not true that it's not on pause. The Glazers are still looking to sell the club, has been said. Ben Jacobs went on the United Stand to say and said if the Glazers decide to announce the takeover when something is picked or agreed, then optimistically it will also take another 6 to 12 weeks to finalise, which is why Mike Keegan is saying we won't get new owners by next season. You know, we might know who the new owners are before the start of next season, but the Glazers will still be in charge for the start of next season as well. I do want to get into the Amrabat news because it is moving quickly, and I do want to get into the Rasmus Højlund news in just a second, but I just want to get through all this takeover news because there's so much coming out, and soon the protests will spin out of control. Trust me, even their lives will be threatened, and so will their stake. If they have any sense, they should leave now. I think if they stay, it's going to cause them problems. Maybe not that extreme, but I think it will cause them problems as well. Glazers will sell. Qatar confidence says delays is a game. Translated means I ain't got a clue what's going on. And to be honest, I don't think anyone knows what's going on. And my point is we can't believe everything we read. I'm looking at this from a logical perspective of I don't think the Glazers will stay. It makes no sense for them to stay. I think they want to give it to Qatar. In fact, I have people that I trust that I believe the Glazers want to give it to Qatar, but I think it's all about money. It's all about trying to get Qatar to play a game with them and raise their bid. But the Qataris, they don't like games. Alex has said, I can't see the Qataris raising their bid much more, considering the debts to be paid off and planned infrastructure and other investments. Exactly. Why should the Qataris raise their bid? And I do think they will sell the club. I do think this is all a game. And that's what I was trying to explain at the start of the video. Why should the Qataris raise their bid? Why should they? You're not worth that much kind of money. They don't want to play games with you, the Qataris. They're not interested. Ben Jacobs says we can never rule out an 11th hour bid to get something over the line, but at the moment, Qatari's perspective is take it or leave it, and that they will be waiting for negotiating. They're waiting on a decision. So answering your question there, Ben Jacobs has said, look, you know, Qataris could get fed up and put in another bid, but, you know, Qataris like to stick to their word in the world of business. They don't want to be seen as someone who caves. So, you know, Qataris could go in, but Qataris are very much sitting there like, you know what? I'm absolutely fed up. Take it or leave it. I've had enough. Take it or leave it. And you can't blame the Qataris for thinking like that. They've had enough with the Glazers. They've had enough with this takeover. Enough with this nonsense going around. They want it done. They're not going to cave. Then they're just going to say, look, you've got our bid. This is a fair bid. We've left that here. It's up to you. It's up for you to decide. That is what the Qataris are essentially doing, and fair enough as well. Will it be at the start of the season when they announce it? This is the thing. I can't tell you when anything's going to be announced. I don't know when anything's going to be announced. We don't know what's going to be announced, but we could guess more what's going to be announced than when it's going to be announced. I think we'll find out in September, if I was going to guess. But I don't know when it will be announced. I think the one thing you can't guess is when it's going to be announced, because we're meant to know in March. You know it's not March. You know March was 4 months ago. Yeah, but you were meant to know in March. Oh, you've delayed it that much. Why have you delayed it that much? Oh, we think the Qataris can give us more money. That's why we delayed it that much. That's what we're doing. It was also said by Ben Jacobs on the United Stand YouTube channel today. Definitely go check out the United Stand video interviewing Ben Jacobs. They said some interesting things. But he said Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid felt dead in the water a few weeks ago. However, due to him negotiating with the Glazers instead of just presenting an offer, he cannot be ruled out. There is the feeling that Sir Jim is willing to negotiate with the Glazers and get this deal over the line, while Qatar have just sat back and said, take it or leave it. Maybe the delay is, them patiently waiting for Sir Jim so they don't get sued by the other shareholders. There's so much in it. But what I wanted to get into, and what I thought Ben Jacobs said on the United Stand today, which was particularly interesting, and one of the most key quotes that came out from this was basically that Sheikh Yassim's party feel that the only outcome are Qatar or no sale. And this is what I was talking about at the title of the video and the thumbnail of the video. Sheikh Yassim's party feel it's Qatar or no sale. It said from Ben Jacobs as well, the Pistons side in relation to the bid, the valuation, etc., have been frustrated with the Glazers in the rain. They're now playing the silent game and are confident their offers still beat Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So basically, Ben Jacobs went on the United Stand today and said, look, Qatar is still confident they beat Sir Jim Ratcliffe. They believe that it's Qatar or no sale. They don't believe anything else will happen. They think that the Glazers are playing games, and that is what sort of Sheikh Yassim's team is kind of putting out as well. Fernandes is now officially announced as captain. Is he? I mean, we said Bruno would be captain. I've got it in the title, but we just haven't had an official announcement yet. So Jim needs to pull out of the bid. He doesn't care about Man U. He is there for the title and of owning the best club in the world, and that will open a business deal around the world. Look, I think Sir Jim's intentions are questionable. Fracking rights under Old Trafford. Tried to bid for many other clubs, but Qatar will just bid for another club if they don't get United. It's a frustrating situation, and Sir Jim's not going to pull out. It would be nice if he did, because then Qatar could really move. But I think the Glazers, they like Sir Jim and they like Qatar, but they want more out of Qatar, and they're delaying to get more out of Qatar. And the thing is, a lot of this news, is you just don't know what. And I say we don't know because even the most reliable sources, they don't know. The non-disclosure agreements is the big problem as well. And I think, Newcastle took a while to be sold. Mike Ashley was difficult to deal with. I say this now. I am confident the club will be sold. I think it will be sold to Qatar in the end, unless Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in with another bid. The worry is, and I spoke to someone, I am going to clarify this. I spoke to someone, I asked them some stuff, and they said, from what they get, and this wasn't them knowing information, they took an assumption, they took a theory from things that they had heard. So again, take this with a pinch of salt. No one knows what's going on. But I spoke to someone and they said, from what I heard, Qatar was in the lead. They were negotiating exclusivity, like Reuters said, and the only way that would have been stopped is if Sir Jim came in with a bid. So Jim has been back in contact with the Glazers recently, negotiating what he could do to his bid to make him more favourable than Qatar. And that could also be the reason behind the delay. Qatar have said, this is our final bid, take it and leave it, adios. Other sources are saying, look, well, actually, Sir Jim is talking to the Glazers about, you about to give Qatar exclusivity. You about to go with Qatar. What can I do so you don't go with Qatar? What can I do to delay the process even more? There is that feeling as well. But again, every single story has to be taken with an absolute pinch of salt regarding the takeover as well. Ratcliffe gave a lifeline to the Glazers, a pure rat, and then the Glazers might stay. I mean, for me, I've always preferred the Qatar bid to the Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid, because the Qatar bid means Glazers 100% gone. I still think Qatar in the lead, but from what I've heard, but it's just one of those. It's an absolute mess. And what I do want to get into is transfer news, because Fabrizio Romano has come out with some pretty interesting transfer news. If I can get into it, and on Rasmus Højlund, we will get, my laptop's frozen. We will get this up in a second. But the last thing I'm going to say on the Qatar situation is the Glazers know Qatar have the money. The Glazers want more money out of Qatar. Qatar have just sat back and they've gone, you know what, take it or leave it. This is our last bid. This is what we're doing. So Jim Ratcliffe, he wants United badly. He's borrowing money. He's willing to keep the Glazers here to get United. Who knows what Sir Jim would do, because Qatar are in the lead. And I will say this now, and I've said this before. What did that good BBC journalist say? He said the takeover situation is Qatar going 3-2 up in the 89th minute. But the longer and longer that goes by without us hearing any more clarity on Qatar, the more and more stoppage time there is. This is how I describe the process. Qatar went 2-1 up. Qatar went 3-2 up in the 89th minute. And there was 2-3 minutes of stoppages. So they had 4 minutes to defend their lead. But the longer and longer this goes on, those 4 minutes of stoppages have turned into 10 minutes of stoppages, have turned into 20 minutes of stoppages. If you're 3-2 up with 20 minutes of stoppages to go. That's a lot more dangerous than being 3-2 up with four minutes of stoppages to go. So Qatar were 3-2 up. They were in the lead, the 89th minute, about to get over the finish line. But those 4 minutes of stoppages have turned into 20 minutes of stoppages because Sir Jim is trying something. That is the feeling of what's going on with the takeover. And it's all a big mess. And I'm absolutely fed up with it. I'm absolutely fed up with it. But I do want to get into the news. There's a lot coming out on Amrabat and Højlund today that I want to get into. And we will talk about the takeover again in a minute. But Fabrizio Romano has said, understand, Manchester United will send their official proposal to Atalanta for Rasmus Højlund soon. Man United want to avoid any hijack from Paris Saint-Germain as PSG keeps speaking to the players' camp. Højlund's agreed terms with United as revealed ages ago. So PSG are speaking to Rasmus Højlund. PSG is speaking to Rasmus Højlund's camp. Am I worried about this? No. Do I think Atalanta could be using this to scare United into paying the price? Yes. Why am I not worried in the slightest about Rasmus Højlund going to PSG? Because we know Rasmus Højlund is United crazy. Rasmus Højlund has agreed personal terms with United. Rasmus Højlund has been absolutely Manchester United crazy for a while, and Rasmus Højlund is a big Manchester United fan, following us all on Instagram. He's only wanted United. So I think despite reports that PSG are coming in for Rasmus Højlund, I think that will be used to try and hurry up United and as a bargaining tool for Atalanta to try and get more money from United. But I think Rasmus Højlund is United destined, and I think it will move quickly. Manchester United have officially announced Bruno Fernandes as their new capitano. No surprises there. We've also got news coming in on Amrabat. While PSG are speaking to Højlund, trying to hijack the deal, I would be very shocked if they did. I would be very, very shocked if they actually did. But we do want to talk about Amrabat because this is the transfer that could definitely move soon. And there are reports coming in that United are really working on the Amrabat deal and they really want to get this deal done quick. It was said that Fiorentina's Amrabat has been handed some extra days of break amidst interest from United, report many Italian outlets. There are a lot of interesting news coming in on Amrabat that United are making a bid. United have meetings with Amrabat's agent. Amrabat wants United. Ben Jacobs, when he went on the United stand today, said Amrabat is definitely a Manchester United target, but keep an eye out for both Liverpool and Atletico Madrid. Fred's future could influence the Amrabat move. Goldbridge came out today and said he had heard that Man United are trying to move on Fred really quickly so they can get the Amrabat deal over the line. And there are reports from Italy, but it is one of those, take it with a big pinch of salt, Italian sources coming out saying the feeling now is in Fiorentina's offices is that Manchester United will launch a decisive bid for Amrabat over the weekend. Fiorentina manager even wants Amrabat to join United by Sunday as he's unfocused. There are reports saying Amrabat has lost focus. He's not interested in Fiorentina. They want him gone, and that United are trying to offload Fred to get the deal done quickly as well. But yeah, as soon as the Sheikh Yassin takes over, if he needs to get a green and gold kit. If we do get new owners, they need to get a green and gold kit. This takeover is such a melt. I agree with you on that. Takeover is dragging on. And Bruno Fernandes, smash that like button if you're happy that Bruno Fernandes has been named the new captain of United. Bruno Capitano, Varane's probably the backup captain as well. Yeah, any update on I did the Højlund update, didn't I? Update on Højlund is a bid as expected. The update on Rasmus Højlund is things are going well. A bid is expected. Essentially, that is what we know on Højlund. You know, PSG obviously interested, but I think Højlund happens, to be honest. I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely shocked if Højlund doesn't happen. All you've got to do is just search Højlund. Search Højlund, and you just see so much just come out. Let me actually zoom out a little bit here. Search Højlund and see what the news outlets are saying. And United Muppeteer have sources posted in Discord yesterday, but United intending to press forward with talks for Højlund over the next couple of days to work on an initial proposal. They're not expecting he joins the US leg of the tour, so no major rush. So United are working on the Højlund deal, but he's not coming on tour like Onana, so there isn't a big rush about it. Other sources are saying, and this has actually been a decent source so far in regards to the Onana situation, but in a meeting last night, Atalanta coach asked for a solution for Rasmus Højlund's situation in 10 days. Atalanta wants it sorted in the next 10 days. I do think what might hold up this deal, and I will tell you this now, is the fact that United want to raise money through sales. They want to get Fred and Dean Henderson out, so they've actually got the funds to bring in Højlund and Amrabat. But, you know, Atalanta are kind of getting fed up on it, and they want this deal to be done quickly. And Man United want to avoid any hijack from PSG, who are speaking to Rasmus Højlund's camp. So there is a feeling that the deal could be moved quickly as well. And remember, it was said that Donny van der Beek's future is uncertain. The possibility of him being included in the deal for Rasmus Højlund was discussed, but Atalanta only want cash. as discussed in this morning's video, for the deal to be done, for the deal to go over the line, United would have to offer at least 60 million euros in cash. So it's a be done deal for about 50 million pounds. So despite United sources claiming it's 85 million pounds, that was United playing a game to try and act like they negotiated down. A deal will be done for around 50 to 55 million pounds, and I think it will get done. I think because of the preseason tour, they're in no rush now, but I do think Højlund to United could be done right at the end of July, at the end of this month, and I think August United going for Amrabat as well. Amrabat, I see us waiting to get some sales done first. Højlund needs to be the priority. Only current number 9 is made of glass. It's Martial, 100%. As I've said, right now, Højlund is the priority. I like Amrabat. I hope we sign Amrabat. I still think we need to hurry up on the Amrabat situation, and I know we're trying to get him done quick because of interest from Liverpool and Atletico Madrid, and we can't be too certain. Despite Amrabat wanting United, and it's being said Amrabat is desperate for a move to United, you can't be certain with everything. Gakpo was certain he wanted United and he went to Liverpool, but it's so obvious number 9 is the position. We cannot go into the first game of the season without a number 9, having known from September that number 9 will be the priority transfer in the summer. It would be awful. And I think, as said, I think Højlund could be done by the end of the month. I think, just sell Dean Henderson, and then I think we will pursue Amrabat. But it's so important that we get Højlund done quickly, because it's just that we saw in the preseason games the lack of focal point, the lack of presence. It was really, really costing United there as well. I'm just going to scroll through the chat as well. I think we will get one more player, Højlund or Onana. I think Højlund, we've got Mount, we've got Onana, who's going to be announced. Onana's set to be announced today. We've obviously got Rasmus Højlund coming in. And then I think we'll get one more player like Amrabat. Maybe another attacker if we're lucky, but that depends on sales. I've always believed that Qatar was the favourite because of the benefits the Glazers could expect if they invest into new projects. There's a lot of exciting things going on in Qatar. The thing is, the Glazers don't want to annoy Qatar too much, because they want to have good relationships with them as well. They want to have good relationships with Qatar, because the Glazers are always in the Middle East trying to start projects. Qatar are good business connections to have as well. I mean, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's a decent business connection to have, but the Middle East is where a lot of people are going, aren't they? A lot of new money in there as well. I'm just scrolling down through the chat people as well. We should have first focused on sales. What business is Henderson and Maguire doing on tour? I have to say, the fact that Dean Henderson's gone on tour is laughable. We've known that Dean Henderson isn't part of the project. We've known that Ten Hag doesn't want Dean Henderson. We know the plan is for Dean Henderson to be out the door. So, yeah, it does make me laugh, the fact that Dean Henderson's gone on tour. It just shows the lack of organisation at Manchester United. Dean Henderson's gone on tour. Oh, Dean Henderson's gone on tour. Dean Henderson's gone on tour. How many times have we been told Ten Hag doesn't want Dean Henderson, he wants Onana? We've basically signed Onana, so why is Dean Henderson going on tour? We should be selling Dean Henderson. I get that we had to hold on to him because we lost De Gea as leverage, so we didn't get mugged over in a deal for Onana. But the situation is, and I will sit here and I will say this and I will continue to say this, Man United should have had Harry Maguire sold in June and Kim Min-jae wrapped up. Man United should have had Harry Maguire sold in June. They should have had Elanga sold. They should have had Scott McTominay sold in January. They should be forcing a move for Dean Henderson now. And they should have been looking to sell players like Fred. And they should have been doing anything they can to try and offload Telles, Martial and Bailly, who will be difficult to offload because of the crazy wages we pay them. But you're absolutely right. And we're sitting here going into August, actually, really. Telles, it hasn't been sold yet. So the only sales have been Ethan Laird and Sedan Iqbal, which I don't count as sales. No real first-team players have been sold. Brandon Williams is here. Alanga's here. Bailly's here. They shouldn't be here. Like, Elanga can be. Elanga can go out on loan, but Brandon Williams shouldn't be here. Telles is basically gone, but he shouldn't be here. Bailly shouldn't be here. Those 3 players should not be here. Okay? One of Fred and McTominay needs to go. Maguire should have gone and Kim and Jay should have gone in. Now, if you sell Maguire, there's not really many replacements out there that actually are an improvement on Maguire. And, there's lack of options. The fact Dean Henderson should now be sold now with Onana. The fact that we haven't got those sales done, and I have to say Chelsea did get those sales done, and then when we're struggling to sell players, that's something we need to work on, because we're in a position where Mount, Højlund and Onana, I think, are 3 really good signings, but we've still got issues. I still think we need another midfielder. I still think we need another striker, and I think right back could be an issue, but that can wait till next summer. But for us to go and sign Amrabat, we need to get Fred sold out the door. For us to sign Højlund, I think we'll still need those funds that Dean Henderson raises, just so we've got a bit more cash on us. FFP this, FFP that. We don't seem to be pushing a move. We don't seem to be pushing a sale, which I think is particularly frustrating in my opinion. Guys, please do smash that like button and, of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Up if you're new. I'm on 65,960 subscribers. I'm 40 subscribers away from 66k. So if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you did go and subscribe down below. Only 40 subscribers to go to hit that 66k mark, which will be massive, and I'm super excited to hopefully hit that today, potentially tomorrow. But we've got to talk about it. We've got to talk about the news. We've got to talk about Captain Bruno Fernandes. We have to talk about it. Let me actually zoom out here. Let me get the news up on Bruno Fernandes quickly. Bruno Fernandes is the captain of Manchester United, and I believe Manchester United. Why is Manchester City coming up before Manchester United? No one likes Manchester City. Irrelevant club. I believe Manchester United have now announced their next match, which is Bruno Fernandes, and Manchester United have announced Bruno Fernandes as the next captain. People, smash that like button for Captain Bruno Fernandes. And I think it's the right decision. I think Lisandro Martinez's captain qualities and Casemiro's captain qualities, they've not been here long enough. Bruno played more minutes than any other player in Europe last season. I think Bruno being the next Manchester United captain is absolutely the right decision with the amount of minutes Bruno played. So important to us. Ten Hag rates him highly. And what I've read about Bruno, actually, and I read some interesting things about Bruno Fernandes today, but he is like the most liked guy in the dressing room. He's friends with the youngsters. He's friends with the older players, Romano said that Bruno will be the new captain earlier, so this is of no surprise. But, Ben Jacobs said on the United stand today that Bruno is one of the first players in training and in the United dressing room, approaching the players and youngsters to make sure they're getting on well, with him speaking multiple languages. Bruno, pretty sure, can speak Spanish, Portuguese, and English. Spanish, Portuguese, and English are probably the three most spoken languages at United. Anyone South American, Spanish. Anyone Brazilian or Portuguese, which is Anthony, Casemiro, Dalot speaks fantastic English anyway. Fred, he can speak to everyone. The thing about Bruno is he can speak Spanish, he can speak to Garnacho, he can speak to all the South American players, all the Spanish players, he can speak to all the Brazilian, all the Portuguese players, he can speak English. Bruno can speak to everybody. And I spoke to people and I've heard things that Bruno is the guy in the dressing room that speaks to everybody. Everybody likes Bruno. He speaks to everybody. He speaks to the youngsters, the oldsters. He makes sure they're fitting in okay. And Bruno's a great example. Bruno is not only talking to everybody, hanging out with the youngsters, but Bruno is one of the first in and the last out, always working hard. And Bruno is a big personality at United. And I know certain people don't like Bruno Fernandes, but for me, Bruno is a captain. And this isn't a Maguire agenda or anything. Even when Maguire was playing quite well for United, that period we had Dean Henderson in goal, and that we were, top of the league in January 2 years ago. Even when Man United and Maguire was playing quite well, I've always said Maguire's never been a captain. Maguire's never had those leadership qualities for me. Bruno came in and Bruno possessed those leadership qualities for me. For me, Bruno has always been a captain and always had kind of captain-like material. And as said here, Bruno just is one of those guys as well. He is. I'm really happy that Bruno's captain. I think it's, I think Lisandro could be a great captain. I think obviously Casemiro can be a great captain, but Bruno's been here a while. Bruno speaks to everybody. Bruno for me is 100% that most influential figure in the United dressing room as well. The lack of being proactive with sales is baffling. Interested clubs move on to other options with delays like this. Yeah, could have sold McTominay. Interested clubs are moving on away from McTominay. Might be a whole lot harder to sell. We've got interest in Maguire. Might as well sell him. We've got interest in Dean Henderson. Well, we've got to sell him before Nottingham Forest look elsewhere. Another centre-back, please. I think we do need another centre-back, but only if Maguire is sold. Gaman says, absolute joke of a sale, United, which is having a detrimental impact on summer targets. The news being heard now that the Glazers are not selling. Chapter 1001 of the Takeover saga. I still think the Glazers will sell. I think tomorrow we'll probably get told Qatar in the lead. Then the next day we'll get told Sir Jim Ratcliffe in the lead. And the next day we'll get told the Glazers are staying. You just don't know what to believe with the takeover. If you've just joined the live stream now and you actually want to hear me talk all about the takeover, because I've moved on from that, scroll right back to the beginning of the live stream. First 10 minutes, I am covering the takeover, talking more about the transfers here. But I can't believe we haven't sold anyone. I really can't. It's going to cost us as well. But Captain Magnificent as well. Captain Bruno all the way. And Eric Ten Hag going about a proper leadership group with the likes of Bruno, Casemiro, Leach, Varane, and even Shaw leaders without the armband. Exactly. Got some good personalities in there, 100%. And I think Mount, it's new, but I think Mount's got, from what I've heard of Mount, the way that the people at Chelsea and his teammates speak about him, I think Mount's got a bit of a leader personality as well, which is a great addition. So always bringing in leaders, good personalities. And I've always said this from the last year, Ten Hag's best attribute at United is his man management. For me, what he changed the most was the dressing room, the mentality. Ronaldo gone, David De Gea gone, Maguire stripped to captaincy. Everybody gets a chance. Maguire, you got a chance for a year to prove to me you can still be captain. You didn't do it, stripped. Ronaldo, I'm going to give you a chance. You wanted to go. You're staying. Oh no, you've done it on Piers Morgan. Adios. De Gea is getting a year under me to prove himself. His distribution is lacking. Adios. Big figures out the dressing room. But what Ten Hag did is he brought back that dressing room unity to Manchester United, and that was so important. Bringing in characters like Lisandro Martinez, Anthony, Casemiro, people that you know works incredibly hard. Getting rid of players like Bailly and Tellez and Dean Henderson and Jesse Lingard and Paul Pogba, who were reportedly behind a lot of the dressing room leaks last season. What I love about Ten Hag is he gets anyone that doesn't want to be here, anyone that discredits him, anyone that's not willing to put in 100% out, and he brings in characters in. He goes, football's not just about being the best football team and having the best players. It's about playing as a team. It's about having unity. We saw so quickly how we turned around United. We were playing as a team of individuals who were lost and not running. Brentford, Brighton. He said we are a team, we play together. All of a sudden this season, we saw Man United fighting together. Lisandro Martinez, Varane, Dalot, all fighting together. A team that fights, a team that works hard together. All of a sudden, Man United in the last years become a team, not 11 individuals that massively underperformed on stupid wages that didn't like each other with dressing room leaks. The dressing room leaks stopped in September. The dressing room leaks stopped in September, people. How many dressing room leaks did we have a year ago? Ten Hag came in, he put his discipline down, he changed the culture, he brought in the right players, and he got United into a side that actually works hard, that is doing everything they can on the pitch, a team that likes each other. And it's all about the dressing room. And I think, Bruno Fernandes and some of the players he's bringing in will be a big help to that, because I think it's not just about ability, it's about the personality. And we've seen how important that is in football as well. Bruno is a proper leader as well. There are reports, a lot of people saying Maguire out now. There are reports that Ten Hag's willing to keep Maguire around, which wouldn't surprise me. I think Ten Hag wanted Maguire gone and Kim Min-jae in, but now he's missed out on Kim Min-jae. I don't think Ten Hag's that moved by other centre-back options as well, to be honest as well. Maguire's never been a captain. Quality aside, his character's always been subject to flex blame, and squad never rallied out. Exactly. The way Maguire handled himself in interviews, if I'd have been that bad, Ratcliffe wouldn't have picked me. I don't need to prove myself. I've scored against Albania. Puts his fingers in his ears as a celebration. Yeah. Maguire's never been captain material as well. Bruno, the Portuguese Magnifico as well. A lot of people talking about bringing in the left back. I think Luke Shaw's good. I've got no issue with Luke Shaw as well. The Sandro top G, and the big boss gets players out if they're not good enough. And that's what I like about Ten Hag. He gives people their chances. He is fair. He doesn't have agendas. He is fair. And if you're not good enough, you don't prove yourself. Go on. I thought Fred had a good season, and Ten Hag will probably think Fred had a good season. But Fred's aging. He's not getting any better. He goes, Fred, he can get me from C to B. Ten Hag looked at Fred and went, Fred gets you from C to B. But does Fred get you from B to A? No. Fred got me from C to B. Fred was good last season, but I'm not going to give Fred a new contract at age 30, because as useful as Fred was last season, as good as he was, he gets me from C to B, but doesn't get me from B to A. David De Gea, I'm not giving a new contract. You got me from C to B, but doesn't get me from B to A. C to B is out of the top four to back in the top four. B to A is in the top four to pushing onwards. David De Gea and Fred, they can get you in the top four, but they can't win you titles. And Ten Hag sees that as well. He's fair, but he even goes, look, this player's good, but he's not going to get me to the top level. Harry Maguire, I like Maguire, Ten Hag goes, but Kim Min-jae is going to take me from B to A. Harry Maguire isn't. That's the way Ten Hag looks at things, and that's what I like. So happy Maynard will get his chance under Eric Ten Hag. I'm absolutely gassed. Me too, actually. And Ten Hag is a big fan of Kobbie Mainoo, actually. I read this. I'm actually going to read this out because she reminded me to get into this. But there was a report that came out of Kobbie Mainoo today saying, just in, Kobbie Mainoo has been informed he will be part of Eric Ten Hag's first team squad next season. He will be kept around the Manchester United first team this season instead of being sent out on loan. It was also said by Stephen Ralston that it is thought Kobbie Mainoo will be best equipped to play the number 8 role long term. Man United staff have challenged him in different roles in under 21's games with the view that his development will accelerate and that he's capable of playing both roles. It is understood that Mainoo has impressed senior Man United teammates, and sources have described him as a real natural talent with high technical quality. Eric Ten Hag rates him highly, which kind of explains one of the reasons again why Sedan Iqbal left. There's a reason Sedan Iqbal was allowed to go, because Sedan Iqbal was fantastic on pre-season, and that's because Ten Hag had to choose between Mainoo and Sedan Iqbal, and Ten Hag went, this Kobbie Mainoo is special. I rate this Kobbie Mainoo. This Kobbie Mainoo is special. And Ten Hag went with the likes of Kobbie Mainoo over people like Sedan Iqbal. And I'm a big fan of Sedan Iqbal, but it shows you how highly Ten Hag rates Kobbie Mainoo. Guys, please do smash that like button if you were Glazers out. If you're fed up with this takeover and everything going on, make sure you smash that like button. But of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. We're on 65,968 subscribers, 32 subscribers away from 66k. Hopefully we can hit 66k by the end of the day. Would be super, super appreciated as well. Continuing on as well, other teams have to bid for our players in order to sell them. Nobody wants our DOS. I don't blame them. It's hard to sell our players. It is. It's difficult to sell our players because we give them ridiculous wages and a lot of them aren't good enough. And I think it's fair to say Erik ten Hag has full control of the team. Now we need proper owners to help him progress. Come on, Qatar, says John James. Absolutely spot on. What Erik ten Hag's done and what Erik ten Hag's done well is he's got control back of this United side. He's got control. 100%. Onana completes his medical. Onana has completed his medical. Onana is on the plane. Oh, Nana on the plane. Oh, Nana on the plane. Like, he is on the plane right now. There'll probably be some United fans tracking him. You know what our fans are like. There'll be some of you guys tracking him on the plane. But Onana is on the plane. Any news on Onana as well? I will get into that in a second. The Mainer was always a baller, but he's put on some muscle and some height, and he's better at defensive ability than given credit. Lots of potential there. Exactly. Didn't look out of place, looked physically there. I was really happy with what I saw from Kobbie Mainoo. In pre-season, he looked there physically, actually. He looked up to it, and I have to say, yeah, Kobbie Mainoo special. Obviously, Manchester United have named Bruno Fernandes as their captain, guys. That is breaking news. Bruno Fernandes is the new Manchester United captain. Manchester United are now putting in a bid for Højlund, and Amrabat confirms with Brito Romano. And lots is going on today in regards to Manchester United news. But what I did want to do is I did want to get into the Onana news. I wanted to show you what's been said on Onana. I'm just going to make sure we've got no more news in. Laurie Whitwell has said Erik ten Hag made the decision of making Bruno Fernandes the captain and told the whole squad when together for the first time in New York that Fernandes was picked because of his communication skills and tactical appreciation. So basically, Bruno was picked because he's got better communication skills than Maguire, and Bruno is a natural captain, not Maguire. Let's be honest. And, probably not easy for Maguire to find out that Bruno will be the next captain. But it's the right decision from Ten Hag. And, Maguire was not good enough. He did not deserve to be captain. And Bruno has done everything to deserve to be captain as well. Samuel Luckhurst even said that figures at United say Bruno Fernandes has stood out as Man United leader since he joined the club in January 2020. On the first day at Carrington, he requested to head out onto the training pitch once he had signed his paperwork and posed for unveiling shots so he could be well prepared for his possible debut against Wolves 2 days later. Bruno's always been applauded for his fantastic personality and mentality at United. And, Bruno is just an incredibly hard worker that's, rated highly at United as well. Big up everybody in the chat. Dan Gore is an excellent talent. Yeah, big mention to Dan Gore in the chat as well. He's been super excited. I don't really think United do this vice captain thing, to be honest. I don't think United are super, super interested in naming a vice captain, this and that. But I think it would be someone like Varane or Casemiro or Martinez. But I have to say, Onana is at the airport quick. I'll get my screen up again, guys. Onana. Look, Onana was spotted at the Man United airport like that. Like, literally going to New York. Onana was, Onana's on the plane right now as we speak. So at least that one's done quick. There's a feeling that Onana, fingers crossed, if all goes to plan, might be able to play against Arsenal on Saturday, which would be brilliant as well. Which would be absolutely brilliant if you could. But we'll go back onto the Bruno news. It is Bruno Fernandes for Capitano. Bruno is the Man United captain. Amrabat bid. I'll do probably maybe. There might be a video tonight. There might be a late night video tonight or an early morning video tomorrow, because obviously the Højlund bid's going in as well. Højlund bid's about to go in as well, if we get any updates on that. So I'm not going to do a video tonight if there's no Højlund bid, but if we actually officially put in a Højlund bid, then there will be another video tonight or tomorrow morning. So do subscribe for that as well. But yeah, vice captain probably likely to be Casemiro, or I don't know if United will do their vice captain stuff, but we'll have to wait and see. But listen, people, I think today's been a good live stream. It's been a bit, with the takeover, wishy-washy news. A lot of people getting fed up with the takeover. Alice, you say this and you say that. Look, with the takeover, I report the news, and then I clarify with all the news that you can't believe everything you read because we get told this, this, and that. So I am sorry if the takeover news frustrates you. The takeover news most definitely frustrates me. Within this live stream, we were covering the Takeover news, we were covering the Amrabat news, we were covering the Højlund news, and of course, we were covering the news that Bruno Fernandes is the next captain. Onana hasn't officially been announced yet, but that could come tomorrow as well. And I hope Qatar win, but I have a funny feeling the Glazers will pick Sir Jim because it's financially impossible for them to stay alone. I mean, you can't trust the Glazers as well, but please, Glazers, leave. Look, before I end the live stream, I'm going to, one, make sure there's no more news just coming out in the last 5 minutes, but two, Glazers out. We disagree on a lot as a fan base. We all have opinions. People say, oh, we should have got Diogo Costa. No, we should have got Onana. Some people would have kept David. Some people like Maguire. Some people don't like Maguire. Some people don't like Bruno. Some people want Luke Shaw sold. We all have different opinions in the United fan base. But one thing we all share is that the Glazers should go. The most important thing is the Glazers should go. And the problem with Sir Jim Ratcliffe is he could allow the Glazers to stay longer. So while the takeover is frustrating and there's nothing we can do, we've just got to sit here and just hope that it ends with the Glazers leaving. Stay positive, but not too positive. Let's not delude ourselves into believing stuff and getting our hopes let down. But we've all just got to hope with the takeover that the Glazers go. But great live show, people. Big up everybody for tuning in. Do smash the like button. Subscribe down below if you're new. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and bye.